put the link. It looks like you all made it, and we'll keep admitting people throughout the meeting. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see if I got this. And so just to start off, a little bit about Women in Big Data and this group. I think some of you might be members, current members, and some of you might have just heard about this event on LinkedIn and then signed up. So welcome to all the new people. And so here's a little brief introduction of Women in Big Data. I won't get into it too much since we want to get into the program soon. So here's information. So who we are a nonprofit. We're international, and it's all volunteer-led community of women and allies who are in the data and AI fields. It started out with just like a group of like 8 women, probably like 10 years ago, who got together here in the Bay Area, decided they wanted to come up with this like group to help support each other and help others in the community. And so now 10 years later, we're at 50 plus chapters throughout the world, 6 continents, and then over 30,000 plus members, including those that are volunteering, and then those of you that are like attending sessions. And then a little bit of what Women in Big Data does. So we set up meetups, networking meetups, workshops and trainings, events like this one to help the community. We also have annual hackathons. So if you're interested in kind of getting involved in a hackathon, keep an eye out, sign up for our newsletter, and you'll get kind of like the dates when those happen, when you can sign up and join teams. There's also mentorship programs. And then a little bit more about that further into these slides. But I think, what was the stats I saw? Over 1,800 women have been involved in the mentorship program as either as a mentor or as a mentee. And so it's really helped in the community. There's also ways to get technical certifications through Data Camp, which we have licenses to, and we can give scholarships to people who are interested. And then we also have podcasts that feature women in data and AI as well. And then here's a little bit about the journey that we've gone through. So 10 years ago, there was just like those 15 members, and now it's grown to like 50 plus chapters. And these are all kind of like the milestones that we've reached throughout those 10 years, the different areas of the world that we've been able to cover and reach out to. So. And then the impact, over 250,000 plus units of technical training. Again, the 30,000 plus community members involved, 50 cities worldwide, 40,000 plus volunteer hours logged in with the group, and then the mentors as well. And then a bit of how we work and how we operate. Again, we're volunteer-led, and we get our support through partnerships, through other companies, I think other schools, and then other just like members like you. There's like people who want to help out as volunteers or as donors. And so more about like the partnerships. And then if you want to get involved, if you want to be a member, you can sign up with us, or you could go to Women in Big Data. Volunteer, you could lead events like this one. or if there's other events that you're interested in that you think might help the community as well, you can help lead those. You could be a sponsor, or if you think your company might want to help sponsor us, or if you know of or if you have a product or a platform that might help us out, that could also be, we appreciate that as well. And then donations, of course, always are helpful. And so our global mentoring initiative, there's various mentoring programs within Women in Big Data. There's like one-on-one mentoring programs, there's a peer group, and then there's speed mentoring events that we also provide. So if you want to get involved in any of these as either a mentor or mentee, keep an eye out for like the dates that we have these, and these go on throughout the year. And then again, the training and certification that we have with our partnership with DataCamp, we offer that. Also keep an eye out on like when to sign up for that. I think it's usually around like the end of the year or beginning of the year when they do that. And then we also provide any soft skills or technical training and workshops. And we have one coming up, is it in a week or so? So if you're interested in that, coding with AI, we have that one coming up. And then again, the hackathon that happens every year, you get to team up with other data and AI women in the industry. You can learn from the hackathon, build your portfolio as well. So if you're interested in that, keep an eye out on that. And then any leadership development events or upskilling, we also provide that throughout the year. So we're planning those as we go throughout the year. And so if you're interested in any of that, please sign up for the newsletter so you're updated on everything that's happening. And then the podcast that we have, I think this is like different chapters have been involved in the podcast where they get women who are in the industry, and they speak about certain topics. You could probably listen to some of the previous recordings. I think there's links on LinkedIn. And then you can also find it on our website. And then last is our initiative that just started earlier this year, and it's the Women in Big Data AI for Healthcare Global Initiative. So if you're in that industry or you want to get into that industry, more information can be found on their page. You can find them on LinkedIn as well. And then, let's see. Now we're going to go to, and again, thank you all for coming here. I know this is a really tough job market, so events like these are really important for everyone, especially when you're kind of going through that whole job search and you don't know what like is happening, or like you have questions, you want help. So thank you for signing up, and thank you to our speakers today. We have Marilena, who's our hiring manager speaker. She has to go to a meeting at 12:30, so we'll push her ahead and have her speak first. And then Ray Thomas, who's our tech recruiter, and he'll speak after. So Marilena, it's all yours.
Hi, everyone. So is this like a stream of consciousness, me speaking and saying everything I feel like? I tried to be the funny one. Ray, the bar is so low after me. You might having them rolling.
Well, thank you then. No.
So, hi, everyone. I am very honored that I was asked by Dioanne if I can join here and share some thoughts on what do hiring managers look for when they are engaging with prospective employees. I want to first of all just make a distinction. Everyone that you talk to is a potential hiring manager. They may not have a role right now, but when you're talking to someone, you're talking to them and you're building a relationship, and they might be hiring you in the future. So treat everyone as a hiring manager when you're engaging. So that takes us through the life cycle of getting a job. You're identifying an opportunity either through official channels like a LinkedIn or a job posting, or you identify the business unit or a group that you're interested to engage with them. That is identifying your lead. Understanding the role so you can tailor your message to the hiring manager. Hiring managers are overwhelmed for two reasons. They are managing their team day to day. They're also looking to add someone at their team right now or in the future. That's why they're talking to you. But that is not part of their day-to-day job. So they want to be able to understand fast. Are you a fit? Are you a fit when it comes to what, though? Your skill set, your culture, your desire to grow within the organization. That's it. They are not looking for a lot of things, but they are. So when I am talking to someone, what I am looking for, it will depend. If I'm giving someone an informational interview and explaining about the company, I am doing more of a say. I am trying to understand what that person is looking for in order to direct them to the right colleague. If I'm talking to someone because I have an open role and I am interested in filling the role, I am doing more of a tactical need satisfaction. I am looking at the skill set. Is this person a fit? Can this person grow with the organization? I will pause and see if anyone has any questions about these two types of interactions with the hiring manager. No questions? I did not explain it that well. Come on, guys. So in this market, you're going to meet more of the informational interview hiring managers, i.e. someone that can potentially put you on the team, than someone that is filling a role. Why? Well, there are a lot of job openings out there. The challenge, though, is you need to go through the screening process of the resume screener before you talk to a hiring manager. So that is not part of what I'm supposed to talk about. I think that maybe Ray's talking about it. But in order to talk to a hiring manager right now, you need to go through that screening. And it's very difficult. So what I suggest to people is apply for sure. But before you apply, network your way to talk to the hiring manager. So do you know anyone in the team? Do you know anyone connected to the hiring manager? That is great. Will that someone make a glowing referral? Oh my God, you need to talk to Sarah, because if you don't talk to Sarah, you're missing on life. Or if they're going to say, well, I talked to Marilena the other day, she's interested. Do you want to talk to her? Like working the referral, ensuring that the referral has talking points to give to the hiring manager is very important. So hiring manager is looking for someone to say, this person is amazing, talk to them. Make a list of your strong skill sets with examples and give to your person that is going to introduce you to the hiring manager. Then when you go, hopefully they're compelling enough for the hiring manager to be like, I have 1,000 resumes, I'm overwhelmed, I don't know who to talk to. Ray came and recommended Sarah to me. I am going to talk to Sarah. So then you're meeting me, Sarah. Dress the part. It's okay to be overdressed than underdressed. I'm wearing a jacket today. Do your homework. Have a very compelling introductory spiel. I've been doing this for 20 years, and my introduction to people that don't know me sucks. I am a nerd. I am proud to be a nerd. I am good with words when I'm talking to a stakeholder, but when it comes to talking about myself, I suck. You guys get a buddy and you practice. Practice as if they don't know you. And go to networking events and start introducing yourself and practice that 30-second elevator speech. Ask Claude, ask Gemini, ask ChatGPT what it tells you. Use that and make that compelling. Why do I need to know Chris? Why do I need to know Sarah? Because of these 2 or 3 things. Then listen. When we interview, we are focused on answering the question. But you shouldn't be answering my question. You should be listening to what I'm telling you and answering those questions I didn't ask. When I'm complaining about challenges my team is facing, come up with an example where you solved a similar challenge. It's a pain in the ass to go and engage with compliance and legal and get our models validated. It's like my team absolutely hates it. Let me tell you, Marilena, about the time we had that machine learning model. Compliance didn't know anything. And I developed the plan to bring them up to speed, explain to them what we're trying to do, and relieve their fears. Answer what I'm asking you, but also if I say something, give me examples. It's a conversation. The last thing is, you're also interviewing the hiring manager. Don't forget that. Ask questions. Why are they bringing in a person? Are they backfilling a role? Ask it nicely, like you're not going to say, why did the previous person left? But you also want to understand, do I want to work with this person? Are you working with them or are you working for them? It's 2 different things. Is it a collaborative environment or is it more of a hierarchical environment? Can you see yourself working with that person? You're not going to be best buddies. You're not expected to be best buddies, but you want a person that will empower you, that will teach you, that will train you, that will make the best of you. Now, this goes to the informational interview as well. Because when you're talking to a hiring manager or a person that can register a hiring manager for the informational interview, what are they looking for? They are wanting to make sure that this person they can vouch for. Because if I go to someone and say, hey, Anna, talk to Mary. She's good. And then Anna talks to Mary and Mary is appalling. Anna will be like, Marilena, what were you thinking? And she will never trust my opinion again. So every time someone is making an introduction or a referral, they are putting their name down. Their hiring manager is looking, that person is a hiring manager in the sense that they are going to introduce you to someone else. They're a temporary hiring manager getting you to the right role. So they want to see that you have the skill set. They want to see that you are very focused. They want to see that you are interested in the company and you understand it. And they want to see that you are not going to embarrass them. So treat everything like that person is deciding whether they're going to hire you. I'll pause. Questions?
First of all, I think that's sound advice from a lot of points. I just wanted to make that quick comment. By the way, there's over 20 people on this Zoom. Please don't be silent. This is your time. You know, we did ask for questions live, but we'd love to hear your comments, questions. If it's a +1, or if you tried that advice and maybe it didn't work, let us know. Maybe let's talk through that. So please be engaging in the chat. This is why we're here. So make this a time for you to shine and for us to shine a light on things you have a lot of questions on.
And what would be like the best way to like set up an informational interview? Or
So people like to help. Trust me, everyone wants to help, but also everyone is overwhelmed. So in general, like if someone reaches out to me on LinkedIn and they're like, can we talk? And I want to get your experience about getting in consulting. I'm like, really? Just Google it. Why is it like, don't thinly veil that you're looking for me for an informational interview. Be very specific. Find things to resonate. if you're spending like 3 seconds to send me a message, I'm not going to respond, because I have another 20 people that send me a message and it was thoughtful. In general, introductions work. So if Emiko knows me, if Purpa wants to reach out and asks Emiko to introduce me, I will do Emiko a favor. Now, Emiko has only a couple of favors from me, so she needs to decide whether she's doing it or not. But in general, get people to get an introduction and get a very strong introduction. If you don't have anyone in common, reach out coldly and be like, find something that resonates. I was very impressed with your journey in financial services coming from mathematics. I'm very interested in following a similar path. Do you have 15 minutes for a quick chat? I'm interested to understand what are some good strategies I can use to demonstrate that I'm a business person despite my analytical skill set. Very, very specific. If I know you, you reach out and you say, Marilena, I'm interested in switching from fintech to health tech. I see that you're connected to that person. You know that I have built models in ABC. Are you comfortable making an introduction so I can make a use case? Here is a summary. Here's a paragraph that you can edit if you want to send to that person. And like immediately it's easy for me, copy, paste, send. Make it easy for the person, be crisp on your ask. This is what I'm asking. This is what I need from you. This is how you can help me. And for cold networking, go to networking events, meet people, and ask them, what can I do for you? If you're a person that doesn't like networking, focus on what you can do for them. Make introductions. So you are absolutely right that the market is tough, and and people are willing to take a junior role, and recruiters see it as a red flag. And that is not going to change. And think about it. I'm a recruiter. I get you and you have 20 years of experience and you're willing to get a job, 50% cut, that requires less. What do I know? I know that in a year you will leave. I have enough candidates that they are at the right level to hire, that they will stay for 2 to 3 years. Why should I take a risk on you? So my suggestion is to those people that they're looking to go either take a step back because of personal reasons, of the market, because they want to reinvent themselves, you need to network with the hiring manager. You talk to a recruiter, it's not going to go through. You need to find the right people and talk to them and essentially explain your rationale. This is where finding people with similar profiles helps a lot, because though if you find a person that had a similar journey, they will be more vested in helping you and giving you advice. And they will open their Rolodex and they will open their introductions to you. Has this helped? So I will bow with to go to my meeting. I am very guarded. I am missing Ray's beautiful section, and I know he's going to be like 10 times as funny as I am.
No, I highly doubt it, but still, I think the information you provided was super insightful. A lot of people don't recognize that, and I think you being as straightforward as you were is exactly my style. I think we need to tell people what the reality of things are today, but here's what may help you, or here's food for thought. Maybe what you want to do, maybe not the best thing right now. It may be something else. So it's just it's a lot of personal reflection after you get all this information to do what's right for you. So, but no, I think you provide a lot of great insight as a hiring manager and the best way to approach it, especially that last example of saying you won't You may not get through a recruiter that's looking at the year's experience. You need to do long-term networking. Get the hiring managers to know you and let them advocate to put to,
Exactly.
for you. So
Exactly. Sometimes things don't work. We cut our losses and we move a different direction. Being nimble and strategic in your interactions. Good luck, everyone.
thank you so much.
Thank you, Elena.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, what's next on the agenda, Joanne?
So it's now Ray's turn to have
Okay.
anything to say. Yeah.
All right. First off, can you hear me? Is this working?
Yes.
All right. So yeah, thanks for having me. I'll start off with a quick introduction about myself. I've been a recruiter in tech for a very long time, over 25 years. I actually got recruited out of my first year of college to become a tech recruiter when I was in my computer science courses. I went to a career fair just to get my first job while I was going to school, and I got recruited to become a tech recruiter during the first dot-com bubble many years ago. So with that said, I started off on the agency side, worked with a lot of the network integration companies as customers that are building our current internet backbone across the company across the country. And I did that for like the first 5 or 6 years, and then worked with a lot of tech startups, helping build everything from their C-suite down to like their entry-level admins, especially with a lot of emerging, brand new startups at the infancy stages to the high growth stages as well. Then I made my first move into corporate over to Showtime Network, CBS Corporation. I was recruited to come in and help build a data engineering team there to build their next gen data platform. They had a big problem. They weren't able to hire the right type of talent. They weren't able to attract the right type of talent. And I was there to help turn that around, which I did within a couple of months. And I was there for the year for my 1 year contract. And that's when AWS came knocking, and they said they heard about me from multiple resources, that I was a very niche technical recruiter. I wasn't someone that was just throwing resumes everywhere, hoping something would stick. No, I was very laser focused on the right type of talent for that specific opening for multiple reasons. Number one, to make sure I don't waste the customer's time, make sure that I'm only because I know how busy the hiring managers are. I don't want them to just look at people that are underqualified or maybe versus those that were actually right for the role. This also helps in giving false hope to candidates that were not qualified. So I didn't want to harm them as well, put them through unnecessary process, which sometimes does psychological damage to them, especially if they're constantly going and applying and they're getting rejected in the end for one reason or another. I know how soul crushing that could be. So that's one of the reasons why I was very focused on making sure I aligned the people to the right role from both sides before moving forward. And currently, I've been here at AWS for 6.5 years. I helped build our data analytics team. I helped build our Redshift team, data warehousing side, right? Data warehousing products. So I was our BI products, you name it. So everything under analytics. I was there to support the solutions architects organization and build those teams. For the last year and a half, I've been focused on SDE recruiting, software development engineers, for our core infrastructure organization. So it's AWS's infrastructure services. So this is the core of the cloud. And I was here to to find some of the smartest people to continue to build products given the world of Gen AI and the data center race that everyone has right now. So I'm supporting there. So I'm happy to be here, help answer any questions. Please use the chat. One thing I did do is ask both Anat and Dion if they can share some questions that you may have. And so I thank you for filling those out. And I'm happy to run through some of the notes that I had taken and I'll even copy and paste kind of what I put together, something that you can copy and paste on your side as well. So with that, one of the questions that we had was how to find a recruiter TA for the company and role I'm very interested in if I want to go the extra mile and do some additional research to find the TA recruiting hiring manager for a role I've applied to on Workday. So applying to Workday is just the ATS. So you want to connect with people on LinkedIn because that's normally where you find the people in the company. On LinkedIn, you use a basic search bar using very simple search filters. You could type in, for example, like Amazon recruiter software engineer, and you might find someone at Amazon that mentioned they're a recruiter and they posted software engineers. So you kind of need to go down the list and you might find someone that's at least working within that function. And that may be the first place to start. And once you actually find that person, you send a very simple message after connecting with them. So this is like a simple template message that I'm going to copy and paste. Hi, recently applied for X. Very excited about the opportunity. Would love to connect in case you're the right person to speak with, or you could point me in the right direction. Thank you. Something very simple. We don't have a lot of time, so when you're working at like our organization, AWS, we literally get millions of applications a year. Millions. They have these other organizations where they get a much smaller number. So when you're depending on who you're talking to, you have to kind of understand that not all recruiters know all the jobs. I get contacted by so many people thinking, as an AWS recruiter, I know about the tens of thousands of jobs we have across all of Amazon. It's impossible. That's why the way the recruiters here are aligned, we are SMEs in very specific job families and sometimes only at specific levels. So I work on our mid-level and senior level plus, not any entry-level roles for SDs, for example. So I get contacted all the time about that. I ended up putting an automated message saying, for your background, here's where to look, here's a link. And that's my automatic reply because people sometimes still don't read profiles. So you have to be mindful. If you're gonna message me, be mindful in your messaging if you want a reply. Be mindful that know that I may not be the right person. Just saying that shows that you know that I may not, and you're asking for help, and that's when I want to help you out. That's when I do want to, put a step forward versus someone that assumes it's my job to reply to you. It's not my job to reply to you. That's not a recruiter's job. So my job is to identify the right talent, try to get them engaged, see if they're interested, and then share them with the internal teams and help them through the process. That's the job of a recruiter. And the level in which we operate, the amount of data we share, it's our job to also help arm you with so much information that you're prepared going into interviews and you're not going in blind. So you put your best foot forward. How do you differentiate an average LinkedIn profile from a stand-up profile? What are the key attribute sections? Oh, great example. Your LinkedIn profile should look like your resume. Simple as that. If where you're working right now. So here's why. Sometimes a lot of recruiters, they still use LinkedIn search to look for talent. Think of it as search engine optimization. Okay. I'm going to put in certain keywords. If you just say, hey, I'm this, I work at this company and no data, guess what? You're not coming up on my search. You don't show up. So the more information you have, the more I can go in and actually, you'll rank higher. We may be able to see your resume. So number one, the summary section, just like on a resume, has to be super clear what you're focused on and why. And and kind of a little bit of information about historically what your experience has been. 5 years doing this, built X, and I'm passionate about XYZ. Then when you go into the work history, company, right? Exact title, and then highlight your key accomplishments. Currently working on a project impacting 10,000 people, or currently part of a team. If you're very entry level, say, hey, working on a team doing this, my specific roles are XYZ. The more specific you are, the better it will be for us to realize whether you're at the right level that we need, so on and so forth. So that's one. Again, as much detailed as possible. As a well-qualified candidate for a senior manager role, how do I make it easy for a recruiter to work with me in the hiring interview process? I know they're very busy. How do you know you're well qualified? How do you know you're well qualified? I'll give you an example. There's so many people that they think they have the background and they have nowhere near the background that we're specifically looking for. Job descriptions are not written the same. There's a lot of nuances to roles where it may not be on the job description. So do not assume that you're the most qualified candidate as a senior manager until there's very specific data that says why, right? So for example, if just having the year's experience and a title does not make you qualified. It's like, for example, I'm a senior manager for McDonald's. I ran like a full district of maybe 100 stores. It's fantastic. But now that senior manager is applying to a tech role, right? A senior manager in a tech company where the employees are actually have a tech background. That doesn't fly. Now say you are in tech and now you're applying for a tech role. Maybe that product is fully security based. It's a security product and not data warehousing or something. We know there's qualified people that know the product, that know security. So it's not just about being a senior manager, having a year's experience, and also being in tech. There's nuances to the role that align you to the right role. And that's the difference. There's a lot of people that would actually fit because they have that background. So I'll give you a simple example. One of the roles that I worked on was a genomics specialist solutions architect. Well, what does that mean? Had a lot of people that had a solutions architect background, which are deep technical experts that go in, that are customer facing, asking a customer, what is the problem you're looking to solve? Well, our company is growing, our user base is growing. We need to, we need our system to respond faster. Here's how fast it responds right now. We also want to cut down our costs, et cetera, et cetera. It's kind of what they do. They look at what's under the hood, what technologies you're using in your tech stack, and then they come in and redesign it with different solutions. Here's a different thing that you need on the security side. Here's a different type of database that you need, et cetera, to solve for your problem. Now, I had so many people with that functional background applying to the genomic specialist role. Genomics, when you look at it, we want people specifically that worked in the genomic space doing that. We needed people that worked at some of the biggest genomics research companies or healthcare life sciences background, and that had that technical background. That's the difference between who I'm going to talk to and who I'm not. So just because you have the year's experience in tech does not necessarily mean you're right for that specific team. And that's how we look at it. That's how companies look at it usually. So that's just some food for thought there. Okay. Any questions? Any comments around that? Okay.
I
So
have a
let's-
question.
Going to start writing,
Oh.
but instead, I'm going to ask, what if someone wants to move from, I don't know, marketing and ads to something else? I can't imagine what else, but something else. How do you emphasize the transferable skills that do make it possible for them to say, I think I am a good fit for the role, even if I hadn't done exactly the same thing?
Sure. Great question. We get that often, right? So different companies are more they're not as strict as like say Amazon is, right? The way Amazon hires in general is we're only hiring people doing that specific job already. but the data that we collect says they're better than 50% of the people already on our team doing that job. So it's a high bar. But that's not the case, because I worked in other types of companies that were smaller and different hiring bars, right? Where they can take the chance. You see that a lot more in maybe startups or smaller or other smaller companies where they're in a high growth phase and they're actually maybe looking to hire multiple people like that on a team. Maybe they're looking to hire 5 of those type of people. So they may not be as strict on every single one of those. So one of the things for career changes, right? The resume should bridge your past to your desired future, So use a summary at the top to explain your why behind the transition and emphasize the transferable skills. And then for a follow-up, LinkedIn is like the best platform to reach out directly. Glassdoor and Indeed are typically not like the platform recruiters monitor actively, right? So if you do reach out, make a polite and brief a message, acknowledge they're busy, and simply express interest in learning more. But the resume right in the very top has to be very clear as to why you're looking to make that transition and the very transferable skills. So a lot of like recruiters, for example, some of us have moved into the business, into the businesses that we support, so a lot of us were as recruiters, they ended up moving into program manager roles. So it's kind of what we do. Here's a new program that needs to be managed, right? As a recruiter, the program is hiring for this role. And here's all the nuances, here's all the people, here's all the stakeholders, here's all the interviewers, here's all the candidates. I have to manage this whole thing. The program literally is starting the recruiting process all the way to closing the candidate. So there's a lot of transferable skills. We are customer facing. We run campaigns. We have different mechanisms that we use to attract talent. Same thing with program management. There's a lot of different moving pieces and teams that you have to align in order to achieve that goal, right? So those are all the key things that I would write if I were to move into a program manager role. Same, currently customer facing, working across different teams, strong with budgeting, strong with analytics, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this is where I kind of define what the function of a program manager is and what I've done as a recruiter and help map it together. It's that storytelling saying, I'm already doing this. It's just a different program I need to run. That's really how you got to look at it and how I would share it, if that helps. Okay, great. So yeah, so let's see. So that was one of the things. The other question, how do I make my resume noticed? I tried changing it several times. I'm still not sure it's making any difference. How can I move forward? So if your resume isn't getting traction, number one, again, based on what I said before, a lot of people are applying to roles they're not qualified for. They're applying to things that they want versus what they're very good at, and that's sometimes maybe the issue. And then other times they are a right fit and they're still not getting traction, right? So if it isn't getting traction and you are a good fit, right? Focus less on formatting tweaks and more on storytelling. Your resume should answer some of the key things. What did you do? How did it create the impact? And why does that experience matter for the job you're applying to, right? A lot of people cannot articulate their impact, and that's the big problem. Same thing with the people when we interview them here. What we need to understand is not just what you did. We understand why you did that, but what was the impact? So if, for example, when we're interviewing like the software developers, and they're saying, well, I built this system. Well, why did you, all right, you built that system, how'd you build it, et cetera, et cetera. Well, what was the long-term impact? They can't articulate that. That's a problem. Versus someone that could do very simple math, saying, the customers I support internally was the accounting team. There's 100 accountants. The software that they use is what I'm responsible for. They were spending an hour a day. 100 recruiters would spend an hour a day just to generate this report. And they wanted something that would simplify it to bring it, click of a button in less than in 30 seconds or less, it generates the report for them. So I built a system that actually does that with the click of a button versus 1 hour. So here's the long-term impact. I saved the company 100 hours a day. That is it. Do simple math. If you're impacting 100 people and the time saved was an hour a day, that's 100 hours you saved the company. That's 500 hours a week you saved the company. That's 2,000 hours a week you help save the company. That's measurable impact. That's 2,000 hours that could be allocated to do something more productive for their customers or etc. Maybe it's time that gets back for you to develop your own skills, whatever it is, but that's how you need to share what was the impact of what you did. And that's going to be the big difference. Help quantify everything. Sarah Huang, in addition to resume and LinkedIn, do recruiters have time looking at candidates' GitHub or other portfolios? Take data engineers as an example. As a job market is tough, is it helpful to build a portfolio? 1,000% it's helpful. And the reason why is this: not all recruiters are technical. Even though we do tech recruiting, doesn't mean we could read your code on GitHub. Sometimes we end up using other platforms that help us understand your GitHub, where it tells us where we analyze it. If we go to a GitHub page, it would tell us this was written 90% in Python, 10% in this. Then that is enough information for me to say, our customers look for strong Python developers. Their GitHub's all Python based. That's someone that's actually doing things that we are interested in. Now I'd be more inclined to work with them. So yes, especially if you're newer, if you are someone that are very earlier on in your career, right? How do you demonstrate any knowledge without having experience currently doing that job? This is where you build projects on GitHub. This is where you contribute to the open source community. This is where you you take trainings and do certifications. All those things tied with the GitHub gives us a little bit of portfolio of what you're passionate about. And if you can help us tell that story now, saying whether you're early in your career or you're transitioning to this career, right? It shows that you've taken real initiative and you're actually building. So it does separate you from those that say, hey, I'm looking to transition, take a look at my resume, versus someone that, hey, I'm really interested in this. Here's what I've built so far. Just if you have time, take a look at it. If you have anything entry level and you think this is the type of skills or this type of passion that could be helpful for your team, would love to have that conversation. So that type of messaging resonates with everybody versus someone like, I'm looking. Okay, where everyone's looking. So yeah, great question. Do cover letters matter at all? Oh my God. This is a personal hot take. Okay. If a company is asking you for a cover letter, run. That's I mean, we're not in that world. I think if you are in the tech field, if you're in the tech field, think of LinkedIn as your cover letter. Think of it like that. Again, when you look at LinkedIn, you look at the summary section or even your resume, the summary should be, your cover letter. It literally should tie right there your why, your passion, and why they should be able to read it, and we should understand why you applied to this job and why we should really take a look at you, right? So that's my personal hot take. But if someone wants to write a cover letter, and a company is asking for it, then write one. And if you don't know how to write the cover letter, guess what? Use an LLM. Here's you put in your resume in a chat GPT or anything, say, I'm applying to this role. I attach my resume. I am applying to this role, paste it below, write a short cover letter for this. Boom, let it write it for you and then tweak it. An LLM is never 100% right. It's about 80% right. Take a look at it. It gives you a great starting point, gives you most of the information you need, and then make sure it's correct. Then send that if you don't know how to write a cover letter. So I use AI all the time. Everyone uses AI, and I want to be able to help share how to share your stories there. What type of roles do you expect to see a portfolio on LinkedIn? For a finance senior manager in tech semiconductor space, would you recommend having a portfolio on LinkedIn? Absolutely. Everyone's on LinkedIn, right? So if you're a finance senior manager in the tech semiconductor space, Absolutely. If you're someone in someone in a financial capacity, or even like the sales folks would even look at you, right? So again, people are looking at LinkedIn first. They want to see your LinkedIn. They want to see what you're also who you're connected to, who's connected to you. They want to see your engagement. So all of this actually matters, and it's never too late to start. Absolutely never too late to start this. Um, so, and again, a question again, thank you. I'm feeling at age 64 in great health. Yeah. Honestly, here's how to look at it. I don't care about your age. I never looked at anyone's age. Most smart recruiters don't have that bias. Okay, we don't care about that. My job is to find out whether you could do the job or not. Other companies, it may be a different story. Imagine, you definitely see a lot more biases, like in a tech startup that hired a bunch of 20-year-olds, right? And you're applying for that role. I could see that happening, and it's unfortunate. And it reminds me of the movie The Intern with Robert De Niro and Anne Hathaway. So I think honestly, it's something that we should look past. And there's a lot of skills that you could bring to the table. The one thing I talk about with analytics space, right? It's it's one thing to have the foundational skill sets to understand the different analytical tools. It's another thing to understand that the world of AI is going to take away a lot of certain roles, right? So we're looking for thought leaders, people that understand why we should build certain things, and then use an LLM to help build it. So I think you have to figure out in this time in your career, having the key foundational skill sets is great, but then use your previous history to tie all of this in that space and think bigger. Maybe it's not the specific function that maybe you were originally looking for in this space. It may be a totally different function, aligning your previous skill sets with the current understanding in data analytics, right? And tying in where the AI is, and think about it in a different angle. It might change your perspective as to where in data and AI you should be looking at, and which specific job functions. By the way, how much time do we have here? I don't know, because I'm happy to continue going. I'm very open. I know we're at like it's 4 o'clock, so I just want to be mindful of everyone, because I could keep going.
I think we scheduled this, well, originally it's just like an hour, but we kind of expected there would be a lot of questions coming up. So I think we have an additional 30 minutes. And I know there's like all these questions coming up. Everyone's keeps coming up with all these good questions, and you're doing a great job answering it. And it's been really helpful. So
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to keep going if you both are still here, with the Zoom. It's up to you. So,
Yeah,
okay.
technically we can go as much as we want. I don't think we will be kicked out. I think I scheduled it until 1:45 even officially, and it will let us stay even longer.
Okay.
As
All
long as
right.
people are here.
Okay. So both of you, please let me know when you need to drop or whatever, but I'm happy to stay on, until whenever you need to drop. Krupa, you're welcome. All right. So let's see. Do you care about employment gap? How long is too long? Are there biases for people who have been with the company 10 plus years? So multiple scenarios here. Tiffany, thank you for asking that question. Life happens. There's a reason why there are employment gaps, right? Smart hiring teams look past that, but it depends on your role, depends on what you do. If the technology has changed, if like for example, or if tech has changed how things have worked since the time you've been gone, right? That's when you need to think about, well, while I was gone, did I do anything to stay ahead or keep in touch with what's currently happening, right? Say, for example, I've talked to people that were mothers, right? Like they became a mother for the first time. They actually want to spend the next couple of years being with their kid, and that's totally fine. It's tough to be a mother, and so they wanted to have time raising the child and then get back into X. And the thing is, there's in those 2 years, we don't care that you took 2 years off. The question is whether that specific job or role or industry has it changed in those 2 years. did you at least do something to maintain your skill sets while being a mother on the side? Did you do anything like that, right? You don't need to have full-time employment, but for the maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes you have to yourself a day, being a mother, right? Did you do something? Did you read up on something? Did you watch YouTube videos? Did you do anything to continue those skills? And that's really what the question is going to be. So that's where the question is about the gap. So if you can help say, hey, I've been out for X amount of time, and you don't have to share why. But if you do, it's super helpful, right? It then humanizes things, but you're not recommend. It's okay that you don't. You're not legally obligated, right? But help us understand, what did you do anything, especially if things changed. So that's really one. If someone's been with the company for 10 years versus job hopping. So here you go. Here's the flip side. I just helped flip a hiring manager around because they initially said, hey, this person, they move jobs every 2 years. I'm like, well, that's a great thing in that industry. Actually, that's what you want to see coming from the startup world, and that's what naturally happens. Startups hire this person to do their job. They did it. Sometimes the startup fails. They lose money. So for whatever reason it is, it doesn't matter. Life happens. We don't care why they hopped, etc. It's a matter of, do they have all the skill sets we need to fill this role, and are they better than the people? And guess what? People that constantly move to different roles actually the data says that they work in so many different types of environments. They actually have more breadth than others that just had depth in one thing. They understand what the back end looks like in a financial firm versus a healthcare company versus an insurance company versus a media company. That's incredible knowledge to have. And they still did what you're looking for functionally. So now this is the person you actually want to go to in the future when you have a new customer in an industry that you've never seen, but they have. On the flip side, your question about being at a company 10 years. I'm hoping to stay at AWS for 10 years plus. I'm here 6.5 years. It depends on what you've done in those 10 years. If you had the same exact job, same level, doing the same thing for 10 years, it's fine. That's what you wanted. That's how it was for you. That's okay. But do not expect someone to give you a higher level role when you've done the same thing for 10 years, right? It's like someone, again, you know, if you worked at a company for 10 years and every, say, year or two within the company, you worked on a different project and you built something new, or you worked on a different team supporting something X. Like me, I'm a recruiter, fine. Recruiter at a senior level, fine. But what did I do? What was the difference? Solutions architects for a specialist organization, so many different challenges there, finding the deepest technical experts. Then you had moved over to public sector, totally different type of backgrounds, working with government folks, state and local government folks, looking at the three-letter agencies, all these different types. Then you have the healthcare, like I mentioned, genomics. I have that type of experience, those different industries, and recruiting from there, and the different challenges of the pool of the candidates, or even the minds of the hiring managers are totally different. Now I'm an SE recruiter. It's a rat race here. It's like everyone's recruiting SDEs. It's crazy. So I'm showing how I've done all these different challenges, and I raised the bar and meeting all my goals or exceeding on all my goals with every single different thing that I touch. So 10 years at a company, it doesn't matter. It's what did you do in those 10 years? That's going to be the big difference. And if you can articulate all the growth, all the learnings, then you're super valuable, So it's again, there's a lot more to that. Kristen, please keep going. Your comments are so helpful. Thank you. Let's see. How should I structure my LinkedIn summary if I'm open to multiple roles such as data analyst, machine learning engineer, software developer? Well, which one are you actually qualified to do? Which one are you actually qualified to do? That's the big thing. So again, we are in a world right now where there's a lot of good people on the market, regardless of their skill level, regardless of their years experience, right? And the thing is, the companies are much more stringent on who they want to hire. The bar has risen. as you see, AI has taken a lot of roles. You know, there's a lot of companies that were laying off. There's only a few companies that are actually hiring a lot of folks. And now we know the market is flooded with people with even really high quality talent too. You know, so they can pick and choose, right? So now your best bet, regardless of what you're open to, it's what are you qualified to do? What have you done? I would say if it were me, if I were a betting person for myself, I would take a look at what my strengths are and align it to someone that has an immediate need for me, get my foot in the door, and then continue to learn and maybe pivot into those other type of roles. You know, continue doing this other stuff on the side. So if I've been a data analyst and I really haven't done machine learning as much, but that's something I'm interested in, I'm going to use my skills as an analyst to get my foot in the door and still continue my machine learning engineering like skill sets, whether it's internally or even on my own, continue to do that, and then maybe influence the internal teams to now apply my learnings on specific projects. And that's where you make an impact internally at a company. So again, use what you're strong at and what you're good at to get your foot in the door. That's going to be your best bet in today's market. It's not what you want to do. It's what are you qualified to do? And are you better? And can you articulate your story that you're better than most? That's really going to be the key thing. How can I write a LinkedIn summary that effectively showcases versatility? Go ahead, write use an LLM. Use ChatGPT to help you write that. You know, put up your resume. Say, here's what I'm interested in. Write a summary for me. That's that's the easiest, simplest way to go. What are BKM's best known methods for working with recruiters during the interview process that makes their job easier? How can I put myself in their shoes and make the process easy button for them? Always view the recruiter as an ally. Great question. Most people don't think about that. So I appreciate that question, Irvi. So it's not your job to make your life. So here's the thing. The only thing that I think is important is constant communication. Things change on your end, immediately let me know. Let me know something came up or whatever. Let me know as soon as possible versus last minute. Anyone that cancels last minute on me when they on like an interview that was being set up, right? Say the day before, or sometimes even an hour before, when they actually knew something was coming up a week before, that will bother me. I end up losing trust with that person because all they had to do is a week ago say, hey, leadership is coming into town. I might get pulled into this meeting. I don't know, should we still continue? I said, thanks for letting me know. Let's still continue, right? Because currently we do have availability with that interviewer. And then if we need to reschedule last minute, I'll let them know, and that's okay. You earn trust with me because you gave me a notice in the beginning. Because guess what? When I have to go cancel with that person, say it does come to that point, I tell that interviewer, hey, this happened. I kind of knew it may happen, so this was on me. I told him to go through, and let's reschedule. Like, all right, no problem. That's it. You gave us warning. So be open communication. Let us know anytime something changes, or as soon as you know something might change, just give us a heads up, and we'll work on plan B. We'll work on plan B with you, and that's the best way. So constant communication. All right. Well, you can send us more questions that you like, but there's a few more questions that I was asked. How can I make my resume pass the ATS, the applicant tracking system? So here's the thing, the applicant tracking system, right? There's keywords and there's formatting. So the applicant tracking system is really designed to remove anyone that's not a fit whatsoever. Again, like if there's, how many people that are entry level, just graduates trying to apply for senior roles? It's a waste of time. It really clutters up so we had to, from a recruiter's point of view, right? We see all the applicants, and if the system allowed everyone to come through, we waste so much time looking at someone and saying, nope, delete, 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 right? Versus the time could have been well spent talking to the right people and spending more time with them to prepare them for the next steps. We want to help you get through the process. We want to arm you with information. So the ATS, if it's to get through, apply to roles you're actually qualified for. Simple as that. Okay. If they have so in our system, if you go to Amazon.jobs, some of the roles have JSQs, like job specific questions. have you been customer facing for the last 4 years? The answer is no, and that's a key part of the job. I want the system to reject because this role requires that. We don't want to do this. So again, in order for you to not get rejected or have less of a chance, apply to roles that you're a match for. We're no longer in the age of, we're no longer living in the world of, I can apply to anything I want. You can, technically, but will you get a response? Why would you do that to yourself? If I constantly, I think there has to be a lot more self-awareness with everyone. I've even done it for myself recently. Okay, I wanted to make an internal move. I was thinking about that. I've been recruiting for a long time. I talked to a couple of internal senior people that are my mentors, and their response to me was like, "You're very self-aware." I said, "I know. Why would I do that? I expect this out of candidates. I'm a candidate now. Why would I apply to this? I'm not nowhere near qualified for that, but I think I can better here." He goes, "Exactly. So here, how do you market yourself to that role?" So again, be realistic about what's gonna work. Now, if you are a fit, if you know you're a fit, you have that experience. Again, use the standard job titles. Avoid graphics or tables. It actually messes things up in an ATS. So just use very simple Word or PDF, right? Word or PDF files. You don't need to go crazy to make it all look elegant. No, very specific. Make it very easy for me to read, and that's what's going to help. Mirror the keywords from the job description. That's going to help you get through, right? Avoid the fancy fonts, images. Again, keep it clean. And focus on the clarity, consistency, and measurable achievements. Those are the key things. Measurable achievements. Let's see. Thanks for your response, Ray, but I'm currently focusing on masters in data analytics and have about a year before I can start full-time roles. Through my coursework hands-on experience, I've built data, machine learning, etc. Since I'm open to and qualified for internships in any of these areas, how would I recommend structuring my LinkedIn summary? So here you go. So you know so now that you said you're graduating in about a year, you're about half a year, almost a year late compared to others. And let me explain why. I tell people that if you're already in school and you're going to graduate in like 2 years, you need to network now. You need to start going to LinkedIn and connecting with people in organizations that you're interested in, and specifically in those job functions. Do a simple follow and connect with them on LinkedIn, and then comment on things that they write. Because over those 2 years, they're going to remember your name. They're going to understand that you were really passionate about this. You had thoughtful insights when you engage with them. And that's when you're about to be graduate or soon to, like, in a few months graduate. You could go up to them and say, "Hey, as you know, I've been following you for a couple of years. I learned a lot. I'm actually trying to find. I see that I'm looking for an internship. I noticed that there's a few internships that are opening up. Do you mind, referring me?" That's the person I would say yes to versus someone random that just started following me and say, "Hey, I'm open to internships." You got to start now. So again, so that was for Mansi. Start networking now. Okay, that's the best thing. Do you need to meet all requirements to be able to qualify? Some job roles in Amazon say apply even if you don't meet all the requirements. So, Divya, great question. This is why certain things are written on Amazon. Okay, we have a science research team, and we have research teams for all different job families, including like candidates and attracting candidates. The research showed that, when you have a bunch of bullet points of requirements, right? Men will apply even if they meet only 2 out of 10 bullets. That's how they are. Where women will apply if they meet 8 or 9 out of 10, then they'll have the courage to apply. We started to structure it in a way where we minimize the amount of bullet points in both what's called the basic qualifications and the preferred qualifications. The basic qualifications, by law, we have to say they must meet all of these 100% in order for us to continue reviewing. It doesn't mean you're qualified yet. continue reviewing the application. So your resume needs to, without me talking to you, I have to see that this is all a must. So for example, if it says 3 years software development experience, etc. Okay, I look and I see 3 years. It says 3 years non-internship, actually. This happens a lot in the SDE world. 3 years of non-internship software development engineering. So guess what happens? You have someone that interned for 1 year, and then they only have 2 years experience now professionally. That's someone that's automatically disqualified, even though they have 3 years experience when you do the math. It's not the 3 years that's needed. And at the same time, you have to have all the key things in the basic qualifications. The preferred qualification section, this is where the nuances to the role really comes in, where you stand out if you meet the rest of these requirements. So, for example, if you're looking at a data warehousing type role, but it says, hey, X amount of years data warehousing using X technology, et cetera, right? X amount of years in the tech world. And then in the preferred qualification, say it's worked in healthcare, worked in insurance, or work whatever. That then tells you that they're working specifically on a product for that industry, and that team is focused on that industry. So while you met the basic qualifications, anyone that actually has worked in that industry, that's going to be higher ranked. And there's plenty of those people. So you got to meet the basic 100% and then about 75% of the preferred qualifications. So we want people to apply, because what happens is a lot of people are not aware of other roles. And sometimes the recruiter that you get that's reviewing your resume may be smart enough where they said, yeah, they don't meet this, but they'd actually be better for this role that you may not have considered yourself for. And that's when they'll go out and say, hey, you applied to this role, but I want to talk about something else because it's not a fit. I do that all the time. I talk to people that are overqualified applying to a role that's more junior, and sometimes the flip side, they're applying to something senior when they're nowhere near that experience level, but they're great for this level. So that's why we say still apply, because some of us will be able to calibrate you properly and align you to the better roles. I hope that helps. In interviews is a two-way conversation during first level screening with the call recruiter. What are questions to ask to determine if I'm a good fit for the role, good cultural fit, and a good hiring manager fit? So you're asking about the questions. Just to clarify, Irvi, is it questions you want to ask the recruiter? Is that what it is?
Yes, that's correct. Yep.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So those are great questions, right? And a lot of times the good recruiters would be able to, if they're talking to you, there's like a good chance you might be a fit. There's some questions we may have to really make us feel 100% we should move you forward. Okay. So number one, if they're talking to you, there's a good chance you might be a fit in the first place. Most recruiters, we don't have the time to talk to people that are not qualified, or at least close to being qualified. And then the other thing is, if you're a good fit for the role, dive into it, right? This is where you ask them, well, what are the specific things that I need to be successful here, right? Like, for example, when we say hiring for software development engineers, a lot of people don't realize, and it's not their fault either. 99% of the SDE roles at Amazon is you have to be a back-end developer, where it's 90% back-end development, 10% anything else. So we have a lot of full stack developers and people that are front-end applying to these roles. So when I see full stack, when they're front-end, I just reject them. When I see full stack, that's when I have to come in and ask them, or even if you're someone that's like needs more clarity, both sides, like, hey, is this more back-end or front-end, or what's the split? If they say it's 50-50, pass. 60-40, pass. 70-30, depends where they work. And that's when I kind of know whether they're if maybe now that I see they're doing mostly back-end and now it's also specifically in a relatable field, then it's a higher chance that they may do well. So that's where I make that determination. So they should be able to answer all those questions about the hiring manager, cultural fit. A lot of the information on the culture is on Amazon's jobs. Other companies, they have their things about their culture and work style. There's a lot of stuff out there. So you can do that. Let's see. I have over 8 years of experience in software engineering and data engineering. During my career gap, I completed data science certificate at UCSC. Do you suggest showcasing my work experience first, or should I highlight my professional development at the time? So again, when it says that, hold on, during my career gap, well, how long is the career gap? So when there is a significant career gap, right? I would maybe highlight right on top 8 years experience building this. During my career gap, I did XYZ. If you went to school or whatever, that's kind of what I would write. Now focused on, and this is where it needs to kind of align to the role that you're applying to, and then let the resume sing, showcase current learning, current certifications, and then go into the job experience. And this is where it has to be right on point. You got to make it super clear for us to know the impact. If there's going to be a gap, help us know what were the learnings during that time, and then let us know that you were a great player when you were working, and that's going to differentiate you. There's a difference between, again, someone that writes, I was X, I did X, Y, and I did ABC, versus I was X, I've improved this at the company. I did this. I taught this. I improved X. Your impact is going to be the key things that we want to read, and then you could write the rest of what the specific job functions were. What is the best way to continue a connection with a recruiter? Sometimes I feel like the conversation I have with them in person is good, and then I'm sure follow up with them on LinkedIn. Depends, again, the recruiter, you should be able to, if you connected with them the first time in that first conversation, you should both be able to know what the next steps are, if there are any next steps. If it's not a match, the recruiter should tell you, and you should ask them like, hey, are we moving forward? Is there a next step? If not, please let me know. And also let me know what your preference is. Should I check back with you every 3 months, 6 months, whatever? Ask them right there if you did connect with them. And that's when that recruiter also will see that you are very mindful of their time. And then you also can hold them accountable to that data too, right? You said so say, hey, reach out to me in 3 months. 3 months later, when you reach out, I can't, if you reached out to me, I can't be mad if I don't have anything. I told you to reach out to me in 3 months. This time I'll reply, hey, thanks for reaching out. Yeah, great. But unfortunately, we still don't have anything. But I hear maybe about 6 weeks, something might come up. Ping me in 6 weeks. I'll forget because I'm talking to a lot of people, but you may remember. And that's where you could still hold me accountable to a specific date and time. Okay. So that's how I look at it. So again, just be respectful, be mindful, and realize that we're like you, humans that are in high pressure roles. Recruiters have high pressure roles. I remember when I first started recruiting years ago, they had an article, the most stressful jobs in the United States. Number one is air traffic controller at that time. Number two, executive recruiter, which I was. So this is like tells you that these are high pressure environments. So the more empathy you show us, we'll show you, because now you're connecting at a human level. That's the difference between who I want to help out and who I don't have time for, and that's it. Okay. Emiko, I have to go, but no, thank you for joining. Appreciate that. Let's see. Is it a good idea to ping a recruiter on LinkedIn regarding a job opening? Yes, with tact. Again, if you're curious about a role and already applied, just send a quick note saying, hey, instead of just saying, hey, can you refer me to the role and just spam them? I don't know you to refer you. I don't know you from a hole in the wall. I don't know if you're fully qualified yet. So I'm not just going to refer you. So with that said, if you put it in a very short way, like, hey, I saw this role, I'm really interested. I actually applied to it already. Don't know if you're the right recruiter for it. But do you mind taking a look if you can? That I will do, because recruiters here, our job is we have our own goals, productivity goals sometimes. We have to hire for our business, but if we can hire outside of our business or identify talent that could be hired for other teams, that also makes us look good too from a delivery standpoint. So with that said, we want to help the people that that are, again, very genuine, straightforward, and don't come across as you have to do this for me. We don't. And that's where people don't understand, right? We're humans, so I shouldn't think of you as a candidate, as a transactional item. You want it to the hiring manager. I will never make you look like that or feel like that in the back end. I would never do that. And even like on final debriefs, the way sometimes the conversations we're having, I have to pause the conversations like, hey, we need to be a little bit more thoughtful. They spent as much time preparing and interviewing as as you did interviewing the candidate. So let's have a little bit more in-depth conversation as to, even though it's not looking right, let's understand why, what went wrong here, right? So again, we care, we genuinely care, and we want to help you out, but you gotta also, approach things the right way. How can I help my chances of getting my resume reviewed when there are hundreds of applicants? Do referrals really help? Again, 1,000%. But who's going to refer you? Someone, just because you know that person's on the team and you're just going to ask for a referral? No. Again, our name is our reputation. What if you turn out to be someone that says something really off color and something horrible during an interview, right? That's going to make me look bad. So with that said, the only people that are going to refer you, people that kind of know you a little bit, right? And how do you do that? Build that long-term relationship. Just like I mentioned, so that person's still going to school and you're going to be looking at internships in a year. So build true relationships, get them to know you. That's when they'll be willing to help refer you. And that's it. The other thing is, don't ask for a referral for something you're not qualified for. Number one, you're also making two things happen. That person may just do it as a favor and you get rejected in the system. And at the same time, sometimes they feel like they're pressured to because they know you, and we have a lot of people that are not qualified being referred. It doesn't help. It doesn't help. It has to be referred for something you're a fit for, not what you want again. And that's going to be the big difference. And that's when people would genuinely pitch. And going back to the first speaker's note, give all the bullet points to them. Say, hey, this was a job I'm really interested in because I actually did this. And then put those bullet points why you're fully qualified and give us a reason to actually refer you. And that's what's going to make a big difference. Okay. If you know someone in the company does it, wait, hold on. If you know someone in the company, does it help if they refer you, even if they have not worked with you, but no, outside of work? Again, going back to what I just said, if you know someone in the company, they have to know of you. They have to feel that you're actually qualified, and that will help you get at least seen. At the same time, if you saw on LinkedIn it says, 100 people already applied, and the position's like a month old, there's a lot of people in the final stages. Maybe that's why you're not getting reviewed. You're applying too late, And that's something that, again, where you shouldn't feel like I'm not good enough. It's more like I should find ways for me to be alerted faster when jobs open. This is where other apps can help you get there and help you notify you when a job that you're actually qualified for just posted. And you should immediately stop what you're doing, jump in and apply first. Especially if you're applying to a company that gets a lot of applications, like a big fan company, right? But if it's a smaller company, again, still try to be the first one out there and try to use alert systems to let you know. How do you grow your network safely while avoiding scams? So again, be cautious of unsolicited messages that ask for your personal information, money, or offer jobs that sound too good to be true. So right there, right? Stick to professional platforms like LinkedIn. Join vetted communities like Women in Big Data, right? Tech Ladies and others. Never share any information. No one should be asking you for a social security number or pay up front for a job lead. Anything like that to scam. Do not do that. And look for mutual communications. Those are the simple key things. So there's a difference between someone trying to connect with you versus you trying to connect with them. Anyone that's on LinkedIn, they have a full profile. You see a lot of Why I say LinkedIn is because you actually see how many people they're connected to. You can see the connection count. If it's someone that has like 3 connections and their profile looks too good to be true, I'd stop. I would pause and I wouldn't interact with that one. But if they have like a couple of hundred or thousands or whatever more, and they're kind of in a company that you're interested in, and you see people had, and you could take a look at their recent post or comment section, then you know they're actually legit. Send a connection request, or if you get one from them, connect. It doesn't hurt. So those are just very simple things. How do I create a portfolio that stands out and captures attention? So show, don't tell. So when you're looking at a strong portfolio, especially like in product, data, or design roles, it should include number one, like a summary of who you are and what you love solving. What do you love solving? What is your passion, right? Case studies, what was challenging? What did you do? What was the result? Again, the result. Visuals or dashboards when applicable. Your thought process and what you learned. That's the other thing. What's your thought process, right? So make it easy for us to navigate and link it to your resume and to your LinkedIn. Okay. How can my resume get noticed even if I don't have all the required skills? So no one ticks all the boxes, but if you meet 70% as mentioned of the requirements and the role excites you, apply. Just make sure the resume really emphasizes transferable skills, adaptability, your learning mindset, and use a summary statement again to address this head on. Here's what I'll put. I'll copy and paste this that I put together. Here's like a very simple one. Well, I haven't used blah, blah. I've ramped up quickly on similar platforms and confident I hit the ground running. Something super simple. You're mentioning that specific product directly because now you're not blindly applying, and I don't feel like you're blindly applying. You took the time to talk about that, but then you're also sharing how you know something else. So that's where you could fill any kind of gap. Okay. What makes a resume stand out to you? Very simple, 3 things. Clarity, super easy to read, well organized. Impact, quantified results, not just tasks. Okay, not just tasks. So that depends on your seniority level. At a very junior level, it may be task oriented. That may be okay. But then talk to us about your learnings there, and what you're continuing to learn. Relevance, tailored to the role. Using language from the job description, that's going to help. And again, the bonus point is you have to build a strong LinkedIn profile that matches your resume, that also aligns with that job. That's going to help you big time. Current state of tech jobs, research in 2025, what's working, what's not. So things that are working, again, referrals and personal branding, LinkedIn visibility, thought leadership. So myself, how do I differentiate myself as a recruiter? We had so many layoffs in the tech world, right? Why am I still here? Versus other people that did better than me. I had a stronger LinkedIn visibility. I talk about stuff that's not just I have a job. I talk about my learnings here. I talk about the culture here, blah, blah. I'm very visible here. I have the VPs commenting on my stuff here. So I made myself as a brand that's constantly sharing things and putting myself out there. And I end up humanizing myself and not just recruiter just trying to find people to pick at. I'm giving other information that may be valuable to others at a different stage of their job search. So that's how I differentiated myself and I became more visible. So same thing with someone trying to get in. Make yourself visible. If you're someone that built the project, again, you're entry level, and you're connected with a lot of senior other engineers in the companies that you're trying to get into, put your project on LinkedIn. Say, hey, I just built this project. It's on GitHub, etc. We'd love to get some feedback. And then it goes to the feed of the people that you connected on. Someone might say, that's really cool. I like what you did here. Some might give you feedback. Have you considered this and help you grow there? You don't know. That's how you continue to show what you're learning versus if you don't have the skill sets or the experience yet, that goes a long way. And that's going to help you stand out compared to other people applying. Okay. So that's the other thing. So let's see. Clear tailored resumes where measurable impact, being industry aware, Targeting growing areas like AI, cloud infrastructure, security, etc. Those are some of the key things that are happening. So kind of tying your learnings to that. What's not working? Applying blindly to 100 roles without tailoring, relying only on the job boards. One size fits all resumes, they just do not work. The bar is much higher in 2025. So, but there are a lot of tools that can help, and I'll go into the tools after. How to stand out and how to cold email, where to find email addresses. So you can sometimes find email addresses on Hunter, it's called hunter.io, or just go to LinkedIn, connect with people on LinkedIn, and then some of the people that connect open their contacts once connected. Okay, if not, at least you can message there, and then keep it short, personalize the message, focus on curiosity and shared interest, not just I want a job. It's that simple. Okay, so here, this is what a lot of people use. I get this a lot, but at the same time, I get this from people that don't focus on my profile. And this is what is my pet peeve. I write clearly on my my profile. I'm an SDE recruiter focusing on this specifically and only this. In my summary, I even write, I do not support this type of role, but here's where you could go to get more information. No one reads that, and they're still pinging me. That's a person I don't respond to. And versus someone that says, "Hey, I know you don't support junior folks, etc., but we still like to connect with you and learn more." Immediately, I'm going to connect with that person because they took the time to read the profile, and that's what the person that I'd be more than happy to help later on. So that's one thing. Is there hope for breaking into Is there hope for breaking into data engineering at entry level given market challenges? Yes, but again, it's very competitive. You'll need more than just interest. Okay. Again, build a portfolio, complete certifications, contribute to open source on GitHub, and try internships or contract work. How can I showcase 20 plus years of experience when I've only been in a new field for 5 years and keep getting overlooked for senior roles? It's very simple. Years experience does not mean seniority. It doesn't, especially at an Amazon. It does not mean that whatsoever. What the years experience, it's focused on the scope. It's focused on the scope of the role that you've been doing. So if, for example, I'm going to use McDonald's. I've worked as a cashier for 20 years. Why am I and I'm applying for now a senior role as a district manager. Doesn't apply. District manager, totally different job function. The amount of so it's not just being a cashier, it's knowing everything from the distribution, from the employee management to the POS systems, the technology, and then everything on top of that, all the different locations, and being able to manage all those things. So years experience, again, does not mean anything. It's what you've done in those years experience that says you're a senior. Me, as a senior recruiter here, if I'm going for a program manager role, because I have more direct fungible skill sets, I may be open to go to a senior role. But if I want to do account management, or I want to become a solution architect, when I recruit a solutions architect but never been an architect myself, guess what? I'm only qualified for more entry-level roles. That means a pay cut, big pay cut, and title and all that stuff. That's the reality. So that's really how it works. Okay. So again, this is a branding challenge. So to get a position yourself, senior contributor in a new field, it's not just someone starting over. So leadership, transferable skills across domains. So it has to be that. It's to be very transferable. Strategic thinking and business acumen and adaptability. So those are the key things that may help you get there. Yeah. So some of the other things I'll finalize, right? Resume here. So resume improvement and writing tools. I'm going to copy, let's see if it'll go through all of them, if I could paste all of this. Paste here. Okay, so there. So these are the ones you could use, and it tells you specifically what they do. Okay, and I think in the chat, yes, it hyperlinks. So you can click on those and you'll get that. Okay, so this for resume writing and improvement tools. I'm not the best writer, but I'm a great storyteller. So what I do is sometimes I use, our internal Amazon queue to articulate my thoughts, or I use ChatGPT or something else to articulate my thoughts, but it's my thoughts. I don't say, hey, build something from scratch and that's it. I say, I'm about to present here. Here's the things I want to focus on. And here's some of my raw notes. Rewrite this and in a very simple to follow format and make it concise in bullet points. Boom, it'll do it for me. And that's how I use AI. It's my own genuine thoughts. So you go. I can recommend Teal. So there you go. Fantastic. So here's skill building and learning platforms. Let me put this. So we use Amazon Q internally. It's our internal assistant, but here's a few others. And I was doing this late, but one of the other ones that I want to recommend is if you are thinking about Amazon and that, so it's AWS Skill Builder. Here it is. Let me just copy and paste this. This is AWS Skill Builder. Okay, so that has a lot, everything on the planet you can learn about. So there you go. Let's see. So networking and visibility tools. Here's some of the ones put together. So this is where some I'm very familiar with, some I am not, but I ended up doing some research and these were the ones recommended. So again, don't say I don't think that these are all the ones I recommend. I know some of them or most of them in each one, but these are just some for you to do your own research and you to decide whether it's right for you. So just want to say that up front, okay? And then mindset and personal branding. Let's go here. Okay. I post some of these. Okay. Notion, I use Canva, I use Otter AI all the time. Levels at FYI, it's 70% accurate, 0% accurate if you're looking at Amazon stuff. So none of that stuff, none of that data is perfect. So and then when it comes to the scam stuff, again, block or report anything that looks like it's scam, like it's a scam or a spam itself. So that's all I got. If you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer, but I try to provide as much resources, provide real insight. I hope this helps, I hope that this was insightful. And yeah.
Hey Ray, I have a quick question if it's okay. I'm just
Yeah,
going to
I'm here.
type it out versus type it. So if someone goes and gets certifications on some of the tools that you posted up there or other tools, how do you recommend showing those either on LinkedIn or on a resume? And do you even care if someone has put those on a resume? Because I'm going through that process right now, and I'm wondering if the recruiters even care and if how much weight they give those.
100% weight. So here's what happens. Definitely talk about everything you're doing, every certification you've gotten. It's one of the first things I want to read right after your summary to understand why you applied to the role. Okay. So right after that, I want to see anything that's relevant, especially if it's relevant to the role itself. It does two things, especially if it's also a newer certification, something that recently came out. It shows your genuine curiosity. It shows that you are someone taking action to learn versus someone says, I want to learn. No, you took the first action without getting into the job yet. You spent your money, your time, and time is money, to go in and upskill yourself, even if it's theoretical knowledge. But that theoretical knowledge will then help you go in and start to build the stuff on GitHub, take your learnings, etc., right? And it continues to build that little bit of portfolio. So when we see someone that apply to a role, especially if they're not at the level that we need, right? And we might have something more junior, that really comes into play. Or if there's a small gap, like for example, I've seen someone that was not a pure solutions architect. They're very close, but then when we saw that, they went in and they not only got their associate level solutions architect certification, they went and they passed the pro. We hired them because that was someone that already we knew, because that's part of the onboarding. We actually get them to get those other certifications. They already did that. They already demonstrated that. So we know this person from their learn and be curious mindset is going to close the gap really fast, and they could do it within the ramp up time. So there's really no risk in hiring this person. That's with our Amazon. That's how we look at it here internally. So absolutely, even if for other external companies, talk about all those certifications definitely do matter, because recruiters want to help tell your story with some hiring managers. They want to be your advocate. They want to come in and share all the great things and why we should consider you. Again, I want to fill the role. If you're someone that can help fill this role, and that is something we have a lot of weight on, great. You make my job easier to help sell you to that hiring manager to move forward in the process. I hope that helps.
Very much. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Any other questions?
I think we are, if not done, then very tired. Thank you so very, very much, Ray. You were a total rock star. And thank you, and Marilena as well, who's not here, but you both came and you shared your knowledge and you answered so many questions, provided a lot of very insightful information about the process, about how recruiters see the process from your end. And we have a lot of learnings to implement if we're looking for a job.
Yeah.
And thanks, participants, for coming in and sharing with us.
Yeah, thank you. I've never liked talking at people. I love talking to people. So thank you for all the questions, for those that submitted, to those that came in live. I'm happy to help. And that's my LinkedIn. Feel free to send a connection or follow. And yeah, good luck on everything. And thank you again for having me and team. Okay.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.